Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Brewing e-commerce. And how often does it happen that when you look at a piece of content and you're like, "Hey, this is described better than what I was kind of thinking," and that's the kind of feeling I get every time when Toby posts on LinkedIn. You have to check out the way he writes and explains things, and that kind of bedazzled me. And so I reached out to him and we had a lovely chat. And then I realized that that doesn't just justice at all, and I need to get more inside his brain. So, thank you so much, Toby, for joining us today, and I'm looking forward to our chat.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Shashank.
Great. So, Toby, we all eat, breathe, and sleep e-commerce for everything possible. But I'd love to hear your journey and kind of introducing yourself and how did you come about till now to start with, please.
Yeah, so I got into the space coming up to 3 years ago now. There's a little bit of a story behind getting into it. It wasn't, I guess, traditional. Basically, I had a mountain bike accident, had a few surgeries, and in the time of sort of sitting around on my bum trying to work out what to do because I couldn't really do much with my leg in a cast, I thought, let's dive into the world of digital marketing. And so started with email copywriting and wanted to go a bit deeper, and then ended up going down the rabbit hole of e-commerce, and now I'm here today.
Excellent. So you're very young, and I have all the gray hair hidden, so I know where you're coming from. But we're trying to do this at such a young age when there are so many cool and shiny things going on. What kind of led you or attracted you about e-commerce the first? As in, was there something like a brand or some campaign or something?
Yeah, so I've always been into sport, into the gym, and with that has come buying my fair share of supplements. Some work, some that didn't. And I think during that time of shopping around, trying different brands, I kind of got to see what, well, particularly their email marketing was like, and
Hmm.
their general approach, and it just really intrigued me. And I thought, let's dive into this further. And yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a rabbit hole. Once you go down it, you find all these little things, and you just keep on going.
Yeah, and that's so funny, right? So many times when I am on calls with my potential customers, right, and then I kind of explain them what we do, and they would come up with just one line of saying things what Kui does, and which is far more simplified than what I was trying to say. It's just exactly that kind of a moment when you might look at one healthcare brand or a supplement brand and their email marketing like way too complex, and I can do a better job at that because you use the product. You're the perfect guy to write that testimony, and then when you do that, I think that's where you're trying to solve a problem, which really is the case, and that got you into it. So amazing, right? I also know this, Toby, that you specialize in retention side of things, right?
Correct. Yeah.
How would you uh, kind of go and tell people about it, that what is an acquisition side of focus and retention side of focus in today's world, please?
Yeah. I mean, as an e-commerce brand, you need both acquisition and retention. That's like, you can't argue that they're both linked together. You can't have one without the other. So I think obviously acquisition is like your paid ads, bringing in these leads and then trying to convert them, and then the retention is actually keeping hold of them and getting them to buy over the long term. So I think a lot of brands put a lot of focus into acquisition
Yeah.
and they neglect their retention. Whilst as an early, a young brand, maybe yes, it's beneficial to have more focus on your acquisition because you need to get increased brand awareness. But as you start to scale, it's whilst retention is important at the start, it becomes all the more important as you grow.
I think that you've explained it very nicely, is based on the number of years of you're in business or the kind of growth curve you are into it. You kind of really need to pay attention to both, and both of them are necessary to go and kind of work out the strategies. So, Toby, is it that you work with brands who've only been in the market for 3+ years, or make like $100,000 and above? How do you kind of say that, now is the right time for this retention focus to kick in?
Yeah, I think you can work with any brand of any size with retention. Obviously, the smaller brands, like I said, the focus should be more on acquisition as opposed to getting really nitty and gritty with the retention.
Yeah.
But with the bigger brands, there is much more that you can do. Obviously, with the bigger databases, there's more information available to you. So, like zero party data, first party data. And
Hmm.
with that, you can get sort of granular with the segmentation and go down some really cool routes within the flows of the campaigns. So, I wouldn't say there's a point that you need to consider starting to work or focus on retention. But I say as you scale, yes, the focus, it should become more balanced between acquisition and retention as opposed to at the start where maybe there is slightly more focus on acquisition.
Super. So I have this question, and I kind of asked this from many D2C brand guys, and right, coming from your expertise, Toby. So if I'm a brand, I've spent like some 3+ years in the business. I make $50,000 a month, right? And now I'm starting to think about retention. Okay. So if I come to an expert like you, what would you consider in kind of setting up those email marketing strategies for me? Like, what are your bullet points, or what are your, major heads that you crack together to come up with that one campaign kind of a thing, Toby?
I'd say probably the number one tip if a brand really wants to nail their retention is the post purchase sequence. A lot of brands kind of neglect it or don't put enough effort into it.
Hmm.
So if there's one like spot that I'd really focus on at the start, it is the post purchase sequence because your
Super.
work only just begins
Yeah.
once you've got that first purchase. But a lot of brands kind of think, right, now let's go after the next cold lead and get their first purchase. But like I said, the work only just starts. You really need to continue to nurture this customer and prove that they've or reinforce their decision that they've made the right choice of brand to choose this product. And just I think a lot of brands kind of in the post-purchase sequence they just send these basic emails and hope that it does the job, but you really need to educate, provide value. And I know that's quite a broad term, provide value, but you can do things like quiz-based emails, educational emails, how-to guides, accountability, so sort of building the habit of using your product.
Hmm.
So I'd say if there was one spot, definitely the post-purchase.
Hmm.
And
Nice.
even I know the welcome sequence is to convert sort of cold leads into first-time customers, but that ties into your retention because it's your first impression. If you set a good first impression, then ultimately you're setting yourself up for long-term success.
Very, very nicely said. And I know, I, I would say 8 out of 10 brands would send me an email post purchase saying, here's 20% off for your next one. And like, that doesn't cut it for me enough, right? There's so many more things you can do, because especially when it comes to email, it's a real estate that you need to kind of really look at every single centimeter and piece, that can I use it better to go and leave a mark there. Right.
Yeah, I think, like you said, where a lot of brands just go straight away in with the 20% making of the purchase, it's kind of weak now. I think people expect that to happen. There are a few ways that you can do this that might work better than as opposed to just coming from the brand. This depends massively on your like fulfillment process, how
Yeah.
long it takes to package orders and stuff.
Yeah.
But something that we like to do is a plain text email from either a warehouse manager or a customer support, someone from the customer support team, and just say, "Hey, I noticed you ordered, I don't know, say in the skincare space, a retinol. I really like that product as well, and I find it pairs well with X. Here's
Yeah.
my unique discount link or whatever." And
Yeah.
you are still upselling or cross selling, but
But
it doesn't. It's coming from a person, not the
yeah.
brand. So
Yeah.
that works nicely. But I think, yeah, like you said, the discount play is maybe later on in the sequence, but I think more focus should be placed on reinforcing the buyer's decision and just removing any sort of buyer's remorse, making them feel comfortable in their decision and just not leaving them in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this whole customer engagement thing needs to be humanized, not rather than the whole bot approach, like you buy something, get an email, get an SMS, get a WhatsApp, get whatever. It's kind of pretty crazy. uh, I love this. I saw an example, like a creative on LinkedIn the other day, and I think it was from Middle East or somewhere, where they one guy ordered something from McDonald's, um, a takeaway, and the delivery came with a small piece of paper. It said, "We saw that you ordered from a hospital. Hope everything's okay."
Oh wow,
You know,
it's just small touches like that, isn't it?
yeah, it's just so nice and smooth, and yes, it takes that extra effort and thinking that I have to, go and do beyond. But that guy would remember that kind of for his lifeline, right?
Exactly, and I think as a smaller brand, it's 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 completely worth it to put this extra effort in with these handwritten notes or videos, whatever it may be,
Yeah,
because you are a smaller brand, so you've got the chance to really go in at
that's
the
it.
early stages and
Yeah,
leave an impression. Obviously, as you grow, this might not be as scalable, but there are things that you can do to still kind of keep that personal touch without sacrificing it completely.
yeah, yeah, and the way brands grow, etc. It becomes hard for them to do it. I understand that. You have to containerize everything, but the initial growth would come by just making customers feel special at the end of it. Yeah,
Exactly. I think there's so many brands out there nowadays that it's there's so much choice and there's no real. If you leave a lasting impression, people are going to stay with you.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas if you just become another brand that offers this product, because a lot of brands offer the same products, it's just packaged differently or they sell it differently. But if you build that connection, that kind of community, that's what's going to bring customers back. Not obviously a good product helps. You need that. That's essential. But you can have maybe a slightly less good product,
yeah.
but a better community, and you're going to bring back far more customers in the long term.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me go and pick your brain, and this is the center of my conversation, Toby, right? Because I want to go and extract all as much value as I can for myself and the community here. So, like I started saying, I love your content on LinkedIn, right? When you go and take an email, or you take like a piece of creative, and then you kind of break it down piece by piece, creative by creative, etc., and then you really explain what's the best strategy, or what can we change and how can we go about. And the best thing is, execution is one part, and the thought process that you come with is just so nice. How do you go about doing that, Toby? So if I have to, in much simpler word, I will, like, if I bring you an email, or I bring you a landing page, and you have to kind of break it down, how would you go about doing that?
It's a good question. Obviously, there's kind of like frameworks or like the backbone to say an email or a landing page. So you kind of base it around that. And I think a lot of it comes with experience and just testing yourself because people can say, oh, the strategy works really well. But obviously, if you're working with, say, obviously most of our brands are health and wellness. If you're in the the apparel space, this strategy might not work as well. So I think being able to break it down comes with experience and actually doing it yourself. Um, but yeah, there are kind of proven frameworks and strategies that work. So you base it off that really.
And sorry, yeah, just getting a little bit of cold. uh, do you think these kind of strategies have changed over the past 3 to 5 years
In terms of like retention
in
strategies.
terms of customer engagement strategies, or in terms of retention strategy? Yes, because this is kind of a question which is driving me to another one, but that I don't want to spoil that part. So I just want to understand that, you know attention spans are reducing, brands are increasing every day, the discounts and offers which we offered are like crazy every time. So you can't have the same messaging, and you can't have the same approach what you had on your email or website 2 years back than what you have now. Have you seen some kind of a evolution here?
Yeah, I think like you said, with the number of brands popping up, I can't remember the exact figure, but it's increased massively in these past few years.
Yeah.
Um, yes, I think it pays to be the elephant in the room, be different, be a little bit weird or funny, whatever it is, have a bit of personality.
Yeah.
I think these, like you said, the discounts, they're everywhere now, so they need to be much more strategic.
Yeah.
So there definitely has been a change, and that change, in my opinion, is to go the more kind of personal route,
Super. Yeah.
as opposed to just trying to get sales. You need to put in that extra effort and really build that connection with your audience.
Makes sense. So I'm going to hit you with a statement, Toby, and I want you to agree or disagree with this, right? So more than 80% of visitors on your website are not ready to buy. True, not true?
Oh, I think there's a lot of factors that tie into that, but I'd say in general, I'd probably agree,
Okay.
because I think this ties into the previous question and previous points with how many brands there are.
Yeah.
People are much more aware and they want to educate themselves more before making a decision.
Yeah.
So I'd like to agree with that, just because, like I said, there's far more choice. So it's
Okay.
not as easy as saying, oh, there's only 3 or 2 options here, I'm going to go with this one. It's now there's 20 options. They all
Yeah.
look kind of similar. Which one do I go for? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Now let me take the question a little notch up there. It's like 97% of visitors of your website are ready to buy or not.
Oof. Not 97%. That's an awful lot. I think if you've got good kind of strategies in place with your acquisition efforts, your ads, etc.,
Mm.
I'd like to say maybe that's too high.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially, depending on what market you're in, it is possible. And I think that's where being able to capture this data with pop-ups, etc., and retarget and
Mm.
re-engage with this audience with emails, SMS, whatever it may be, that's where they really shine. So, like I said, people, there's far more choice. It's much harder nowadays to finally make the choice.
Okay. It takes an average 4 sessions for a visitor to come and finally convert.
I feel like this is all based on your data, isn't it?
No, not our data, not Koi. This is all data backed by sources that I can tell you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to agree then.
Okay. Okay.
And I think that just comes with, say with your emails, a campaign, you drive them back to the website. Maybe they play around a bit, they don't make the decision. Then
Yeah.
you've got an abandoned cart or a browser abandonment, whatever it may be, to re-engage. So, I'm going to agree with that one.
Oh, super. And the last one, and I don't mean to grill myself for you at all, but the last one here is um, conversion rate, which is an average 3% for, let's say, Shopify stores globally. This number hasn't changed in over a decade. With all AI, all deep tech, all automations coming into place.
I think with all the AI coming into place, there's a potential for it to increase,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so clever. It's able to pinpoint the exact point they're in the customer journey, what they've done. So I want to say it will increase, but whether it has already,
Yeah.
I want to say it's probably around the same.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. No, good. And again, there's no right or wrong here, kind of a thing. But these are all perspectives, and why I was asking these questions, Toby, because you realize this or you don't, but the kind of work you are doing very inherently fits into all these frameworks that we kind of work with. Like your email is personalization, being more impersonal with people, trying to go and not just sell on the face kind of thing, right? That helps nurture and then eventually guide a visitor to go and buy, rather than going and saying, hey, give me your phone number or email and I give you 20% discount. That just doesn't work anymore. So that is what I was kind of going towards.
Mm.
So Toby, any very strategic and really cool email marketing of a brand that you've come across in the past few months or during the summer that that you thought this is really well executed?
That's a very good question, Shatang. Any really brands that have really stood out to me? There was I think they're called Shmoo or Smoo.
Okay.
I think I want to say it's a menopausal supplement. I might be wrong. Don't
Sure.
quote me on that.
Okay.
their emails are great. I can't remember the exact things,
Oh,
but
sure.
especially
That's
with their pop up,
sure.
because now obviously, like you said, the kind of here's 10% approach,
Yeah, yeah,
it works kind sort of like you'll get it will convert just at very low rates. So I
yes,
think now is what's essential is collecting zero party data from the
exactly.
get go
Yeah,
and using that within your welcome sequence. And that's what Shmoo did, if I
yeah.
remember correctly. They asked, I think it was, what was your health concern or health goal right
Okay,
now? You
okay.
select what it is, and then within that welcome sequence, they'll
Mhm,
target the messaging around that.
mhm.
Um, so I think, yeah, I want to say
Okay.
Shmoo. Shmoo stood out to me.
Okay. No, that's pretty nice. And in terms of your work, Toby, is there a specific sector that you guys focus on? Um,
Yeah, so it's health and wellness, mostly supplement and skincare. Um, just because I think in that sector, retention marketing is massive, because the competition is massive. So really being able to stay in touch with your customers and, like I said, stand out in the inbox, stand out like a sore thumb, be the elephant in the room. That's where it pays off.
Super. And how long does it take for you, on an average, to set up this whole, strategy for an execution? So if your brand comes to you, when you'll be like, okay, let me start looking at your data, looking at things, it takes 1 week, 2 week, 2 months, or just a broad time frame. How much time?
That varies massively depending on what they've got in place already, what they want to put in place.
Sure.
Um, but honestly, within a month, just
Okay.
doing a real deep dive of their data, what they're currently doing, you
Hmm.
can put things in place easily. So yeah, like I said, it varies massively, but it's not a
Huge
huge time
amount.
frame.
Perfect. And what are your favorite tools in the whole e-commerce Shopify space? The ones you can't live without.
Wonderment is great.
Okay.
So that's for the post-purchase experience. So like I said, a lot of brands kind of sleep on that, but Wonderment turns your transactional emails really into emails that sell, sort of. So that they're branded and they drive them back to a branded tracking page, which is where you can get these sales. That's a
Nice.
great one. Maverick AI is quite cool. So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
basically personalized videos from the founder or whoever it may be that you
Oh
can
yeah.
send
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
an abandoned checkout or whatever. What else? Obviously, Klaviyo. That's essential for what I do. And let's think of one more. Aftersell. Aftersell's a great one.
Okay.
So upsells, cross sells on thank you pages as part of the post purchase. That's a really nice one.
Okay. Cool. So
Oh,
guys,
and
sorry.
Kui.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. But guys, these are the tools that Toby uses. So, check them out. And I'm sure it's doing wonder for him and the brands. So, that's another gold nugget that we get from Toby here. And now that this brings me to the last, but the most important question, Toby. Um, Now you have to tell us something that you've never told anybody about yourself.
Something I've never told. Ooh. Let's think.
Needs to be a fun fact, needs to be a big screw up you did, or something happened that went miserably wrong. Something cool, just about you, so that yeah, because we're from the same community.
Oh, you put me on the spot, Shrutank. Well, I told you about the mountain bike accident at the start, so I
Yeah,
can't say that one now.
yeah,
Um, oh, something that I've never told anyone.
yeah.
I haven't told. Well, it's not that exciting, but I used to be a bit of a nerd in school.
Oh,
So
mhm.
in my A levels, I got two A stars and an A in
Oh,
biology, chemistry, and maths. So I'd like to say that's fairly
yeah.
interesting.
That is, and so now the school like old nerd is geeking out e-commerce, and I know that he's doing really well. So again, thank you so much, Toby. It was a very good chat with you. And guys, I've learned a lot, and I will continue to learn from Toby, and I hope you guys all as well. And that is the whole idea of this podcast: is learn from the community. And if you're a brand, looking out to give your retention strategy a boost, go talk to Toby. He's very approachable, and I'm sure he's going to do a good job for you. Appreciate so much, Toby, your time, and because for all the things I learned, I can't wait to have you again on this.
No, thank you for having me, Shank. It's been great. Like you said, really good conversation.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Toby.